Greetings, video watchers of my common sense health videos. Number three. Again, today this one will be on fasting. These videos are just intended for friends and family and anybody who cares. For anybody who doesn't care, I don't care that you don't care. Um, Again, I don't do this for money. I don't do this for likes. I don't do this for any other reason other than I've been at this for quite a while and trying to work on my health and just find common sense things that actually work. Um, and some people it might work for me, it might work for I don't know. But I put a lot of work into this, and so I do want to preserve it and share it for for individuals here and there. And if somebody watches it and likes it, that's great. Appreciate it. But um, um, I don't know. I'm kind of a lone wolf kind of guy, so I don't need the attention. I'm not looking for it. Um, but man, I've got a lot to say about certain things. And I guess this is the good format because if you don't want to listen to it, you can just turn it off. So if you do want to listen to it, then you can, and you can hit pause. You don't have to listen to it all at once. Again, I'm not sure how long this one's going to take. I would expect this to be a longer video, but at the same time, I don't know. I've never done this before, so we'll see where it goes. Okay, so fasting. Fasting. What is fasting? Okay, well, there's two types of fasting. And let me share my screen here real quick. Fasting is basically going without food. Okay, but there's two types of fasting. There is let's see. Okay, so that's not working. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's wet fasting and dry fasting. All right. Dry fasting is where you go a certain amount of time without food or drink. Okay. So I believe like Ramadan. I don't quote me on this because I don't really know anything about Islam. But when I worked in the prison, the inmates would do Ramadan. Okay, there'd be Islam inmates, and they would follow Ramadan, and that is going from I believe sunlight sun up to sundown. Again, don't quote me on this. I'm not an expert. I don't know anything about it other than what I've seen, but I believe they would get up in the morning once the sun starts showing, they can't have anything until the sun goes down. No water, no food, nothing. Okay. That's dry fasting. Okay. If that matches up with Ramadan or not, I don't know, but that's what dry fasting is. And dry fasting is actually very, very good for you. It's much, much more effective than wet fasting. But uh, uh, it's more potent, more effective, but it's a lot more miserable too. Whereas wet fasting, okay, you're allowed to drink liquids that don't have calories. Okay. So, so dry is no liquids. Okay, no liquids. Liquids, wet is liquids, no calories though. So you could have like wet fasting. You could have water. Okay, plain water. You can have coffee as long as you don't put creamer or sugar in it. As long as black coffee with no calories, you could have that. You cannot have Diet Coke, okay? Diet Coke, even though there's no calories in Diet Coke, there's sweeteners in it, artificial sweeteners, okay, that would turn your pancreas on as if you ate food, okay? So yeah, 0 calories, and yet it treats it as if you ate calories. And that is a good way to ruin it real quick. You'll be so miserable if you drink a diet soda on a fast. You'll be ripping the door off the refrigerator to get food. I promise you that. So you can't have any sweeteners. It has to be, coffee, tea, plain tea, water. No sweeteners, no calories. Me personally, I drink a lot of coffee with my coffee and water with my fasts. So this is the fasting we're gonna talk about is the wet fasting. I would like to try a dry fast sometime. I don't know if I'd really want to go 24. I may try like a Ramadan version if it was sun up to sundown or something like that. I won't do it for their religious purposes because I'm not a follower of Islam, but um, it is an interesting thing and it could be very healthy. So I'm not opposed to dry fasting for um, purposes of health. Okay. All right. And I'm that don't mean that to be offensive to Islamic people. Okay. If I have a friend that's Islamic, I'm not trying to offend you or anything along those lines. It's just that um, that's not what I believe. So fair is fair. All right. But so fasting is not eating and liquids that don't have any value to them. Okay. So yeah, let's talk about what I do. Okay, so I'm Christian, obviously I'm Christian, right? Um, it's fasting is biblical. Jesus did it for 40 days, okay? I know of a couple instances of people doing 40-day fasts. I believe they were wet fasts. Um, do I want to aspire to that? No, not really. And I'll explain so in a minute here. But I'll tell you what, fasting is something that will absolutely change your life. I don't know what I would do without it, to be honest. I don't know what the static was because I've been Catholic for quite a long time and I've been told to fast. And of course, Lent would roll around and I'd kind of fast, but not really take it seriously. And how I discovered fasting was actually through Lent, the real power of fasting. Um, Kind of hard to believe, but let's see if I can get this to move here. Yeah, so what happened is I lost my pens. Here we go. So it was Lent, and as Catholic, you have to do something. You usually have to give something up for Lent. It's usually about 40 days, but um, the fasting that Jesus did, that might have been a dry fast. And I don't think too many people have that in them. So wet fasting, like I said, there's been some documented cases, but um, I I was just, I've done things for Lent and I've given up pizza, and I honestly have to say that was hard. To go all that time for without pizza was extremely difficult. I made it, but barely. And I remember that first pizza back. Oh man, that was good. So I probably learned something good, and it was really good. But um, the Lent that I learned um, fasting was something amazing. Let's see if I can find it here. Pull that back up. Okay, intermittent fasting. Um, so um, what we've got here is that's intermittent. Let me see, Catholic. Okay. So I didn't know anything about fasting at all when I started this, okay? And I said, the Catholic fast is you get one full meal, okay? Or you could take two little meals that add up to a full meal, and then that is considered a fast. And actually, it shouldn't even equal the size of a full meal. It should be a little bit smaller. So I would be like, okay, I'm gonna try to get two meals of just a hair smaller than one full meal. So I set out for 40 days to eat just two meals. Okay. And then of course there's when it's Lent, you only have to do this fast on Fridays, Good Friday and Ash Wednesday, think. think there's only two days where you have to do this exact this fast. Okay. Again, if you're, older than 59 or something like that, then you don't have to do it. I'm actually almost there. But um the deal was I was going to do that for all 40 days and just say, you know what, let's just do something different. And I mean, I really had no idea, why, how. Okay. So I did this. I said, okay, I'll have a little tiny meal for breakfast, and then I'll have a little tiny supper, and we'll do that. I've counted calories before. I've lost 30 pounds and gained it back through that. You know, kind of like Weight Watchers. So I knew I could do it. I knew I could do it, but we'd see how tough it would get. So the first day was rough, two little meals. The second day was kind of rough too. And then the third day happened, and I was like, whoa, all of a sudden my energy just went way, way up. I mean, I was like, whoa, I'm feeling good. And then the fourth day, I'm feeling good. The fifth day, I'm feeling good. This small meal stuff is not bad at all. Was there a little bit of hungry and all this and that? Maybe a little bit, but um, by about the fifth day, I had noticed something had changed like forever at that point. Like, wait a minute, what is going on here? Why do I feel so good? So I was eating just a little breakfast, like maybe two eggs and a couple pieces of bacon and one toast, just real small. Okay. And then I would go to supper, and that would be like one serving of, mac and cheese, something simple. Tried to get a little bit of meat, tried to get a little bit of fruit, maybe I had an apple with it, maybe mac and cheese and then an apple or something like that, or a small salad. I was keeping the meals small, real small. And they said by the fifth day, I couldn't believe how good I felt. I was like, this is absolutely just crazy amazing, just crazy amazing. I feel like $1 million. I went through week two, felt great. Week three, I remember by the end of it, I remember saying that was the easiest Lent I ever had. I mean, I'd given up pizza for the whole Lent, and I was miserable. I was like, I'm never doing that again. That was way too hard. I went from like the worst of the worst to wow, this was too easy. It was too easy. It's like I learned something that, you know what? I don't think we're supposed to be eating 3 meals a day. I don't think we're supposed to be snacking at all. And I was a snacker. I was a eater. I was always told, when you diet, eat like a bird. Okay, like 6, 7 small meals. Okay, and now I'm coming to find out that that was 100% wrong. And why is that wrong? It's wrong because every time you eat calories, you turn your pancreas on. Okay. When your pancreas turns on, it sends insulin to counteract the glucose. Now if you eat just something real simple like bacon grease or something, your pancreas doesn't quite turn on as much as if you eat a bag of chips or something like that. Okay. But your pancreas turns on essentially anytime you eat something. Okay. So when you eat something, your pancreas turns on and it starts processing glucose, and it wants to kind of like find a home for that glucose. The one thing that your body does, okay, is it runs on two things. It runs on glucose, which is sugar, and it runs on fat. Okay. Your body runs on sugar and it runs on fat. And it runs on sugar number one, fat number two. Okay. Sugar number one, fat number two. Okay. Now, you, when you turn the pancreas on, everybody has a reserve of glucose. Okay. Like if you're walking in the woods and suddenly a bear jumps out at you, you want to run away. Okay, that costs energy. Okay, that's just very logical. That costs energy. So everybody has a little bit of glucose stored up in case a bear jumps out and you need to run away. Okay. Or there's somebody's trying to mug you, you got to get out, or you got to fight somebody. You know, I mean, there's glucose for that. That's where the glucose comes from. Okay. So there's always a little stored glucose for you. So when your body's in sugar mode, okay, when your body's in sugar mode, that's where the hunger comes from. Okay. You burn some sugar, I need some more. You burn some sugar, I need some more. You burn some sugar, I need some more. Okay. Because you don't have very much sugar around. You have a little bit in case a bear jumps out at you. But then the rest is your body's just fat, okay? Or, proteins and, muscles and bones and all that. But your muscles and your bones aren't a real true food source. Now, if you're starving to death, they'll become that because your body will go into survival mode. So there is a number three, but right now we're not dealing with any of that. We're dealing with normal life here, okay? And I've got plenty of this to go around. I think everybody does. Okay. So, nobody's going to be starving anytime soon here. Okay. So your body's running on sugar, running on sugar, running on sugar. Okay. And that's where type 2 diabetes, I believe, is my opinion. I'm not a doctor, but I've seen this a million times. I don't think you need to be a doctor for common sense again. But I think this is where the type 2 diabetes is coming in because we're snacking so much and the snacks are so glucose oriented that your pancreas is on. Even if you eat some ice cream at 9 o'clock at night, well, guess what? Your pancreas is going to be on for a couple hours. It's going to take you into midnight, 1 o'clock before your pancreas finally shuts down. And oh, I can finally get a little bit of rest till 5 a.m. And then you're up again and you having breakfast, you have some coffee with some creamer and sugar, and then boom, you're back at it again, running on sugar 20 hours a day. And then we wonder why we have type 2 diabetes. We wonder why we're overweight because you cannot gain weight if your pancreas doesn't turn on. Okay. It doesn't mean you lose weight with fasting. Okay. It's a lot harder to lose weight than one realizes. It's a lot easier, but it's a lot harder at the same time. But um, you don't fast to lose weight. I mean, you can, but what you do is you fast to get healthy, and then once you're healthy, you try to lose weight. Okay, so sugar is bad, number one bad, and then too much sugar, too much in the day is also bad, bad, bad. So we want to try to eliminate this process as much as possible. Okay, so we want to turn the pancreas on, maybe 2 times a day, maybe two, maybe only once. Okay. You want to see type 2 diabetes go away quick? Start intermittent fasting, two small meals a day. Try that Catholic fast for a week. You want to see type 2 diabetes just go away without any medication, without any problems. Try it. You'll be amazed. You'll be absolutely amazed. Now me, I do a little more than that, but I'll talk about my fasting in just a little bit here. I just want to kind of explain just a little more what happens. So when you start to fast, okay, the pancreas does not turn on, okay, and then you go into what's called ketosis, and a lot of people might understand that because the ketogenic diet is very much based on this as well. You go into ketosis, okay, now your body is looking at the fat as the fuel source. You ran me out of sugar. I made you hungry. You didn't bite for it. Okay, you drank a couple coffees instead and you filled up on no calories. So the body's like, oh man, I tried for a hit, but you wouldn't give it to me. Okay, so I got to go into ketosis. I got to start going to the fat for the diet for food. Okay. And once you go into ketosis, okay, you start going to your fat for the food, the pancreas stays off. The pancreas gets to rest. Okay. You got to remember that type 2 diabetes is wearing out the pancreas. Type 1 is your pancreas is dead. You don't even make insulin. But type 2 diabetes is your pancreas makes too much insulin. Okay. It's too much insulin and it doesn't work because you've sugared so much Pepsi, chips, everything. You've sugared and carb so much for so long that your body's like, this insulin, man, it's some weak insulin, okay? And you have to reset. And the only way to reset that is through medications, which we don't want, okay? Or through intermittent fasting. And I tell you, I'm gonna feel a lot better, a lot better. Okay. So the body says I got to go after the fat, but the body also is smart and it goes after defects first. Okay. Goes after defects first. And let's take a look at some of the things. Um, so intermittent fasting is a cycle, where you take some time off to eat. This is what I like. Now the Catholic is two little meals. Okay. Um, so you're not allowed to eat anything in between. But intermittent fasting is actually kind of a cycle. Okay. So what you do is you say, okay, for 8 hours of my day, I'm going to eat. I'm not going to go like gung ho on everything. Okay. Because you can still gain weight, intermittent fasting. But you say something like, you know what, I'm going to, from 8 p.m. to noon tomorrow, I'm not going to eat for 16 hours. And then 8 hours I will eat. I'll break my fast, breakfast. Okay. Again, breakfast doesn't have to be 7 o'clock in the morning. I've always heard that breakfast is the most important meal of your day. Well, break fast. Yeah, that's why it is the most important meal of the day because you're breaking your fast. But breaking your fast doesn't have to happen at 5 a.m. It doesn't have to happen at 7. It can happen at noon. I don't eat till 1 o'clock every day. I mean, that's not, I mean, I do have exceptions, of course, but for the most part, I don't eat until like 1 o'clock. I really don't. Sometimes two, three. I get my first meal of the day. And oh, how do you do it? How do you do it? I remember Father Marty, I was talking to him before I understood fasting. And he said, I only eat twice a day. And I'm like, oh, I can never do that. I mean, how do you not have your early breakfast? How do you not have your lunch? How do you not have your supper? I was so conditioned. And then I found uh, this Catholic Lent fast, and I felt so good. I was like, okay, well, I don't want to stop. So it led to intermittent fasting, where you take a shift off, okay? And oh, talk about feel good. Talk about feel good. Trust me, trust me, trust me, try this and you will feel so much better. Um, because this is what happens. Your body goes into what's called autophagy. Let me see if I can lower this window here. Okay. So your body goes into what's called autophagy after about I think it's like the 15th hour. It says 12 to 16 hours of fasting, but for me, I think it's about 15 hours. Once I'm into 15 hours, the body goes into autophagy. And what that means is it starts healing. Autophagy. I don't know if I can spell that right. Autophagy. Okay. It starts healing. And what it does is it starts going after the junk first. Okay. I mean, it starts going after the junk first. And I'll be honest with you, this very well, this intermittent fasting could be a prevention for cancer. Now, I'm not talking about like radiation cancer. If you're by radiation, I don't know, I don't know how you really stop that. But there's a lot of cancer in this world, and it's coming from our food. And I'll have videos on that later as well. And food companies don't chase me down, but personally, it's my personal opinion. Again, I'm not a doctor. I don't research this mechanically. I research it through other people's work. But the preservatives in foods, can cause cancer. And obviously, how do you stop cancer? Well, you avoid those preservatives or toxins or whatever. Okay. But the other thing is too is to process those toxins and get them out of your system. Okay. Your liver gets clogged up real easy. And again, that's another video coming. Again, I mean, I can't do all this in one video, but our livers are clogged. Pretty much everybody's liver is clogged. Um, and we have to get it unclogged so we can process these toxins that are in the environment and get them out of our body. Okay. One way to do that is intermittent fasting and get yourself into autophagy and get this done. Get the body processing things again. Okay. And you know, I can't tell you how healthy it is, but it also gives you energy too. It gives you energy like I can't explain it. I can't tell you. You have to try it and say, wow, I feel like I'm 10 years younger. Okay. Um, it's one of the best things I've ever found. I couldn't believe I found it totally by accident by doing a Catholic fast, and here I am years later. Crazy. So what do I do for a fast? Okay, so this is how I've learned a lot of things. I've done good, but on and off, I yo-yo a little bit. But this is my fast for the most part. Um, I, I call it the exorcist fast. And the reason I do is because I follow priests that do exorcism. I know it sounds crazy. Okay. I study angels and demons in my spare time. And it sounds weird, but I actually study how demons attack people and I study how angels protect people and how there's kind of like a spiritual battle there sometimes. So I study that. And the one thing that exorcist priests do is is they eat one meal a day 6 days a week, and on the seventh day, then they kind of have a little bit more. And the reason they do that, these priests do that, is to keep their spiritual discipline healthy. Okay, so anybody that eats one meal a day, 6 days in a row, every week, again and again and again, when this is when they're working with people and things like that. That doesn't mean that a priest wouldn't go on a vacation and then, okay, you know what, I'm going to eat a little bit because I'm not under that direct pressure. But when the priests are in their session modes and stuff like that, the exorcist priests, okay, and there's not many of them. A bishop has to let an exorcist priest be an exorcist priest. He has to give them permission to do that. So there's not many. There's usually one in a diocese, okay, if that. So they do what is called I mean, again, they just talk about it. I call it this, but they don't call it this. But what they do is they eat one meal a day, okay, for 6 days. And I like this. I like this plan. So for me, I do stretch that meal sometimes to about 2 hours, okay? Because you gotta get all your nutrients in, and it's a lot harder than it seems, okay? So, I don't start eating usually. My minimum is 11 a.m., but I like to try to get to 1 p.m. And sometimes if I can really manage it to really get to like 3 or 4. Now sometimes you get really hungry and it's like, just have your meal now. So, but then I eat for about 2 hours, okay, and then I stop. And most of the time it's really only 1 hour, but that is what they call, okay, we were looking at 16/8, where you're off for 16 and on for 8. Well, I'm off for 22 and I'm on for 2. And really I like 23/1, to be honest with you. And the reason I like 23/1 is if autophagy starts at 15, that gives me 8 hours of autophagy. Okay. 8 hours of autophagy. If you probably won't see me getting cancer. Okay. You probably won't see me getting any of the weird sicknesses. Yeah, do I get the flu like anyone else? Sure. But I don't get it as bad as most people. When I get sick, I uh I don't really get that sick when I'm fasting. When I'm not fasting, I get sick real quick and easy. So um it doesn't give you a certain immunity, but boy, it sure helps. And energy levels are usually pretty good, but your work day is your work day. I'm not a young man anymore, so I mean, um, I probably still can't compete with a 30-year-old, when it comes to energy, but I still feel pretty good. At the time of this video, I'm 55, and I do feel like I'm 40. Okay. I remember what it was like to be 40. And I went through some rough times here before this, and the fasting, honestly, 10 to 15 years in terms of energy. Feel a lot better. So that's what I do. Okay. Now, I have to caution you that you can't just really do this tomorrow. Okay. You really can't do this tomorrow. Um, it takes work to do this. Okay. You have to uh, build up to this. Okay. And that's why I like the Catholic fast of 2 meals. And I would honestly, 2 small meals, nothing in between. But you do get liquids with no calories. Okay. Liquids, no calories, no sweeteners. Okay. No calories, no sweeteners. So I would try that. I would try to have a meal at, let's say, 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Okay. And it can be a little bigger than one meal. The Catholic is like you got to be smaller than one full meal. You can have them equal one full meal. You could actually have two meals, and that would be fine. Because if you're eating 3 meals and snacking, two regular meals is going to be you're going to notice. You're going to notice real quick. And then in order to get better at this in time, then what you want to try to do is try to get to 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. And then maybe another week after that, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Okay, now see how there's only, here you've got 9 hours. Here you have eight. So you're at a 16:8 right here. Okay. Now you're at 7 hours. Okay. So you can try it that way too. And then you could even the thing is you can come back on that too and narrow your time to like 2 or 3. But um the thing is, like, if you're working and stuff, 5 o'clock's a good time to have a meal, or even 6. You can pick the times you want. It doesn't matter what you do. Okay. And also too, if you do want to catch a small snack in the middle of these at some point too, you could, because you're still in that window. What you're saying is okay, I'm not eating for 16 hours, but for 8 I am. And you know what? I had my first meal and gosh, I really need a snack. And then, okay, my second meal. You still haven't done really anything wrong at that point, okay? But you got to understand you did turn your pancreas on, and it may attribute to hunger, okay? So you might be hungry like at 8 o'clock at night, especially if you have sugar, okay? So you just got to watch that. But in time, you can make uh, you can get it to 1 hour. You can trust me, you can do it. I I was the worst person at fasting, and I can do it too. And I have gone 3 days, 2 times, 72 hours, 72-0, 3 times. Okay. But I don't go more than 72 hours. And the reason why is the autophagy, after the second day of autophagy, it starts to decline. So you will get to diminishing returns. So you get to autophagy. It took 15 hours to get to autophagy. Here you are. And then after about the 48th hour, the autophagy starts trickling away. And at the 5 day mark, it's almost not it's like not existent. It's not I don't want to say that because I haven't proved anything like that, but from the research I've looked at is that after the 5th day, you're really not getting the benefits of autophagy anymore. You kind of need the food. So at about the 72-hour mark is about my max. I would like to do 5 days once just to see if I could do it, but 3 days is plenty, and you'll feel like $1,000,000 if you can get to 3 days. And don't try that right away. Take your time, slowly grow with it. You'll do many 48s before you try a 72. I mean, it took me like 5 48s before I finally decided, yeah, I'm gonna try a 72. And I think I've done it twice, and I haven't. I'm maybe this summer I'll do it, but I'm not really interested in going more than 48 hours without food just because the autophagy just it starts to wane and yeah, you do what you do and then if you can't get full benefit for it then I don't know why not have a meal and start over. You know what I mean? So I would rather do a 48, take a couple days off and do a 48 than to do 6 straight days of fasting. You know what I'm saying? I think you'll get more from spreading the 48s out than to trying to do a full 6 day period. So okay, so that's how fasting works. And again, just another and the 2 day fast is it's about right. Mark Twain, the famous author. Um, Now, this is way back in the 1800s when they had no research, no knowledge, no nothing. And he said, a little starvation can really do more for the average sick man than can the best medicines and the best doctors. I do not mean a restricted diet. I mean total abstention from food for 1 or 2 days. So that's a wet fast because he says you could still, he's saying you can still have water. Okay. He didn't say, he just said food. Okay. For 1 or 2 days. And 2 days is about the right mix. You really don't want to go more than 2 days without food for the most part, if you can. If you want to do a 3 day, that's fine. Even a 5 day is fine. But after five, it really doesn't make any sense to really go much farther than that. And there could be some health risks after 5 days as well. I don't know if I really want to risk that because again, I think 2 48s would be a lot better than a five. I just would. So why not do 2 48s? It's a lot easier and it's better. So it seems to be going there. So it's hard to do, but you do it like a weightlifter. You just slowly start getting better and better at it, and you do those you get those windows going, and um, you should do good. And again, I'm a coffee drinker, so it's nice because the coffee is kind of your friend. The one thing I do also with my fasts, I always start the morning uh, with one glass with a pinch of salt water. A pinch of fish, pinch salt water. Now, video number two was all about salt waters, okay? With salt in the water, enough to get the proper salt. So you're getting your minerals, okay, that you need, and a glass, you're getting hydration too. The fast will go easier, much easier, if you do a small 8 ounce glass of salt water, just a pinch of salt in that water. Your fast will go a lot easier as well. You might get a cloudy head from time to time, but again, you shouldn't have any caffeine problems because you can have a cup of coffee. So if you have a cup of coffee, you get your caffeine. That all goes well, but a pinch of salt with a glass of water also keeps you hydrated. And again, you can't just do this tomorrow. You can't. You have to like work your way to it, but you will enjoy working your way to it because the energy that you will get is crazy. I'm telling you, um, it's almost like a magic bullet. It's um, I mean, I can't not think of fasting. Like I like my regular fast like this. But then, if I go on a vacation or something, I'll eat 2 meals, sometimes even three, it doesn't matter. But when you can fast like this, okay, and then the nice thing is if there is no food, that's not a problem. It's not a problem. Yeah, I don't have to eat supper tonight. I don't care. I mean, some people go crazy if they don't get their supper. But when you could go 2 days without food and you're good at it, oh well, I guess we don't have food then. Now if you don't have coffee and food, then they might have a really problem. But they'll figure that one out too, I guess. But um, yeah, fasting is I don't think the human body's meant to eat more than once or twice a day. I really don't. And yeah, that big meal, you eat that big meal, that's fine. I think that's how things were thousands of years ago. If you hunter and gatherer societies, sometimes you had a deer and you ate really good, and then for a month you might have had couple small meals here or there, and that's it. And the body is designed to be able to go hungry for a little while, not forever, but it's designed to be able to go hungry, and you won't melt, you won't fade away. All these things, you'll be fine. But I do believe that the sickness and the cancers and all that, if you start fasting now, you can prevent a lot of it, a lot of it. If you have cancer right now, I can't promise that this would cure you, but I would highly encourage that, again, you try to starve out the poisons if you could, because your body will attack those right away. Your body knows, hey, I got cancer. And all that kind of stuff. Generally, sicknesses generally, I'm not a doctor. I don't, you can prove none, but I'm just saying what I've found in life. Okay, sicknesses generally feed on oxygen and sugar. Okay. And when you give those bad things lots of sugar to go after, they eat you up alive. Okay. You cut that sugar back, you cut that food back, you cut them calories back from them sicknesses. Then the body says, hey, I'm still hungry. And you, Mr. Virus, are first on my list on the menu. Okay. Your body just knows how to go after bad stuff first. Okay. Bad stuff first. So, um, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm telling you, the best thing I ever did was find fasting. Talk about a blessing of all blessings, because now, um, I have some discipline in my life. The nice thing, I'm fat, I can eat what I want. If I want a steak dinner, I go have a steak dinner. If I want birthday cake, I have birthday cake. I mean, I probably still need to watch my sugars more than anything, just like anyone else. But there isn't any food that is off the list when it comes to fasting. Okay. You get to eat what you want. I mean, again, you want to have some fruit, you want to have some vegetables, you want to have some meat, and whatnot. But if you have some carbs in there, it's okay. You there's want pizza? Yes, you can have pizza. If you want, whatever you want, whatever you want. So, um, that's the one thing I always liked about fasting is that, it could be what I could still eat whatever I wanted. But as my common sense health videos go forward, I'm going to show you how poisonous most of the food is in the food supply, and we need to cut those foods out anyways. So, especially the bad ones, especially the ones that are engineered to make you hungry and things like that. We don't need those in our diet, and you know that's uh, uh, that's another video. That's another video. So let me see. Check my list here. I think I covered everything. I think we're done. Um, Again, this changed my life. It's common sense. It's very, look at, yeah, Islam does it, Catholics do it. There's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason for that. It can't be just because, oh, we want to make you suffer. There's a reason. There's a reason that these religions do these fasts. So, um, I'm in. I'm in. I'm very happy as a faster. Am I perfect? No. Do I have days where I eat too much? Yeah, it still happens, but um, I'm pretty much a 16/8 no matter how it goes. A bad day of eating for me is 16/8. So, um, like I say, I just do not eat until 11 a.m., usually 1 p.m., and if I can make it to 3, then 3, and then I stop usually about 5 or 6, and we go from there. When I'm doing really well, especially when I'm working, yeah, I eat about 1 o'clock, and I'm done at 2 usually, and then I'm done. I'm done till tomorrow, you know. Um, it's just and boy, feel really good, really good. Lots of energy, lots of health. Don't get sick. Do I still get tired? Yeah, I still get tired, but not type 2 diabetes tired. Just old age tired. So um, the if the younger the person that is that starts this, I think the healthier they will be. But this is the type of thing that could get you to 90 years old, 100 years old. You cut out some of these foods that are bad, and then you stop eating too much every day. Say, no, I'm going to eat, 16. I think 16/8 is ideal. I really do. It could be mathematically the uh, right mix. I don't see myself not doing 16/8. I just don't for the rest of my life. And not because I'm like punishing myself or anything. It's just it feels too good. I don't when I eat too much, if I eat at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way to 8 p.m. and I feel terrible. I feel terrible. I feel burned out. I feel horrible. I feel exhausted all the time, groggy all the time. Uh, can't concentrate. At least when I fast, 16/8, usually 23/1. Um, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. When I eat, I do have to watch after I eat my meal. I do get a little tired after I eat my meal. And the one thing I do like in my work day is I make sure I teach all my classes before I eat, because I don't want to be tired. Like if I have a class in the morning and then I eat, and I have a class in the afternoon. I'm usually tired for that afternoon class, so I don't like to eat before a class. Um, just because your body's working on that food. So it's better to be hungry than it is to be tired. Okay. It's just common sense truth. Okay. It's better to be hungry than it is to be tired. And I'm not talking about like going to bed tired. I'm talking about like noon when I kind of need a nap tired. It's better to be hungry than to be that tired like that. So I just don't eat, and I like it. I like it. It's a lot easier to get through the day. So, all right, I think this is a pretty long video. So, but I knew this one would be a long one. I knew this one would be a long one. There's a lot here, and there's probably a lot I missed. There's probably a lot I missed. But the gist of it is to turn the pancreas off, give that pancreas a break, a good portion of the day, not work it so hard. And once that pancreas is going good, the liver can kind of clean things out as well, especially if you can get into autophagy. Okay. After the 15th hour, your body starts looking for the trouble cells. Okay. Where in this big, massive Jim Sawatsky's belly is things not going right? And we're going after that first. And then if you can give that 8 hours, wow. Wow. Yeah, no wonder he didn't get sick this week. Everybody else had a cold. He didn't get the cold. You know what I mean? It's things like that. Um, so we get into autophagy, we get the pancreas turned off, and we start feeling a nice quarter to a half step better in life. And again, all these videos, I'm expecting 20, maybe there'll be 40, I don't know, but I'm expecting about 20 videos, and each one of these videos just gives you a nice little step forward. And not anything that like fasting might revolutionize it. I won't lie. Fasting's pretty big, okay? I mean, it changed my life, but suppose it just you find that just little effects, a little bit better, but not much. Well, if you do all these videos and do all these little steps better, it's going to add up to a nice big step, and you're going to feel a lot better, a lot better about life, a lot better how you feel. You're gonna start feeling good. And that's the whole key to it is to feeling good. We should not be sick. We should not be tired. We should not be groggy. We should not be losing our concentrations. I'm in my mid 50s and that I shouldn't be doing these things. I know 80-year-olds that take care of themselves and they're sharper than me at 55. And it's like, come on, what are you doing? Oh, they're fasting. They're eating healthy food. They're taking care of their bodies, okay? And they probably feel like me at my age, and I'm 30 years younger. They probably feel as good as me. And it's like, wait a minute, what are you doing? And they don't maybe have it described as well as I do. They don't have videos, they don't have it written down, they don't have different things like that. But they're essentially doing the things I'm doing here. there's wisdom with living 80 some years on this planet, and me and my 50 some years on this planet, I'm watching what they're doing, and then I'm going to start doing those things myself because, I want that longevity like that. Not so much I want to live so old. It's I want to be healthy. I want to feel good. I'm tired of feeling sick all the time. And I'm telling you, fasting is one of the ways to do it. Learn to intermittent fast. If I missed anything, start looking it up. It's all over the internet. A lot of people know about it. A lot of good people know about it. Um, it will change your life. It will change your life, and you will start feeling better. I promise you. You will start. Your energy will pick up real quick, real quick. And but you got to remember too, it's only one of many steps of the process too. It's not an end all. I thought, oh yeah, this would be the end all, and then I started feeling crummy again. But wait, I'm fasting. I'm only eating 1 hour a day for a month. Um, you have to do other things. There's other things to it. Fasting is just one component, but it's a big one. It's a big one. So, and it requires a lot of discipline too. The salt water is pretty easy. The deep breaths, those are easy, but fasting, I got news for you. It's not that easy, but I'll tell you what, the payout is very, very good too. You'll get a better payout than the salt and the breaths. You'll get a very good payout. You'll be like, yeah, this feels good. So give it a try. Give it a try and see how it goes. And I wish you the best on that. All right, until the next video, we'll see you. Take care.